Hey everyone, this week on the Blue Water Buzz, I'm really excited to share with you an inspiration that I had talking with one of our employees this week as we were walking into our break room. He was telling me a little bit about his plans to projection map his house for Halloween. I was totally inspired by the idea of actually like transforming your house using the technology to do some fun things outside. I've always wanted to make like kind of castle on the fly. So my inspiration for my entry this week in our Buzz blog is talk a little bit about what is projection mapping, why it's important, and some ideas around some inspirational projects that you might want to take a look at. First, let me talk from a high level. What is projection mapping? This has been around for quite some time. It is basically this whole idea that you use a projector to send an image up against another canvas, could be like the side of a building or a stadium or an internal wall, and then map the shapes on that wall and be able to project images on them. Those could be colors, those could be different types of video feeds, and it's really cool technology. If you've ever seen a projection mapping experience before, you're totally drawn into the experience, and it's just really a wow factor. So what are some of the reasons that you would want to do projection mapping? Let me just hit a couple of them. First is to tell a story. When you have a visually appealing experience where you're seeing something that's life-size, or even I should say greater than life, you have this fully immersive interactive experience, and it evokes a feeling. It actually draws people into that overall experience. It connects those two worlds together, which is this idea of visual experiences and that feeling that you get from a highly immersive and interactive experience. The last thing is this is actually a real cost-effective way for you to generate a real high-quality experience without necessarily putting fixed-based installations out there. For example, let's say you're considering putting an LED wall in a fixed environment. You may use projection mapping because it's your only alternative, or you may use projection mapping because it doesn't require you to change your physical environment. A couple years ago, Blue Water was invited to partner with Meijer and several other creative entities to create a campaign for Meijer called He Rides. Now in this campaign, it's perfect timing in the year. We actually put a projector in a truck, and we took that truck and we drove around the Chicago metropolitan area and broadcast an image up against the sides of the buildings as we moved through the city. It was very entertaining for people who saw it. I mean, of course, they had no idea where the image was coming from, but when you see a headless horseman moving down Michigan Avenue at greater than life size, not only are you drawn to it, but you're drawn to the opportunity for the brand to say, hey, this is me, this is what I'm doing. So the next project I want to talk a little bit about is an event that was hosted here in Detroit just last month called D-Lectricity 2014. What's great about this event is it is literally a night in Detroit. About 100,000 participants come, and they congregate around the Detroit Institute of Arts, and the whole event has everything to do with lights and visual effects. And there was a local partner here in Detroit, Mindfield USA, who actually put the content together and worked with several of the partners to be able to deliver this experience where they projection mapped on the facade of the Detroit Institute of Arts building as well as the building across the street. It was an incredible project, and there was a great quote from some of the people that were participating in this. One was Mike Dryden from Mindfield said that both buildings were used to tell a narrative about how we view the world and how judgments are formed and how those perspectives actually influence you. And for those who were actually participating in the event, I think that they would definitely agree that it was just a completely engaging event, probably one of the most memorable things that happened at D-Lectricity this last year. Well, the last project that I want to talk about is an event that was hosted at the United Nations this fall called Illuminations Protecting Our Planet. Now this particular project was put together in conjunction with Academy Award-winning producer and director Luis Cejoyos of the Oceanic Preservation Society and Insurgent Media. What these people put together was an amazing experience that was projected not only on the UN facility, but on the building just adjacent to it. Now, the experience that was associated with this project was significant because the Secretary Ban Ki-moon specifically had the objective of not only lighting up the buildings with the imagery and the animations and story, but it was a call for all global nations. And so as they created the content and they projected it on the side of these buildings, one of the participants, Academy Award-winning producer Fisher Stevens, said, "There is no bigger billboard on the planet." Another statement by Ban Ki-moon was, "These exceptional projections will help draw attention to the need to make climate change a reality in every community and every society. Now is the time to take decisive action. Now, you would have never heard those statements from them unless you'd read the sidebar, but if you've seen it, and some of the pictures we've shown you in this blog entry help give you the sense of just how you can tell that story. So there are a ton of resources and things out there on the internet that you can read about projection mapping. One of my favorite is there's a great website called projectionmapping.org where you can get a lot of this kind of information and hear from guys that are doing this every day. Hopefully we've inspired you and given you some ideas around projection mapping. Certainly you can't learn everything that's associated with projection mapping in one particular setting, but whether we've inspired you to play around with projection mapping in your own home or perhaps for your next party or event, or inspired you to think more deeply about how projection mapping might be used to display your brand or promote your next event, is something that you should absolutely consider. The technology is not only robust and capable of supporting it, but partners like us here at Blue Water would love to work with you on projects like this. Thank you for your time and have a great week.